Folks, again, welcome back to 3Zen. This next story I have involves a solo student from Laughlin Air Force Base coming up to Randolph Air Force Base one morning for their solo out and back. I just happened to be flying that morning, and I was on recovery into Randolph myself, and I heard this exchange over the radio. But before I get into the actual exchange, let me give you a little background on it. When we would navigate, we used TACANs, which is the military version of a VOR for navigation. And these were radio stations placed strategically across the United States. And we would dial in a TACAN frequency, fly to it. When we got to the actual TACAN, depending on our altitude, we would enter a cone of confusion. The TACAN or the VOR has this cone of confusion, is what they call it, and it's because the radio signals are emulating out around from it. They don't necessarily go up. So as we're coming through, we would lose radio lock as we passed overhead, or navigation lock as we passed overhead. It wasn't usually a big deal because we were going the speeds with which we were traveling. We'd pass through that cone relatively quickly. So this one morning, I'm on recovery, and I hear San Antonio approach call up. He says, "Rake 17, he says, exactly where are you?" And the student comes back and says, "Sir," he says, "I'm not quite sure." He says, "I'm in the cone of confusion." And San Antonio approach without hesitation says, "Well, sir," he says, "I know that." He says, "I'm just trying to determine which one." So I'm sitting there listening to all this, and when you hear one of these, you just make a mental note, shake your head, and continue on. Anyway, he got sorted out, and I suppose he went on to have a great career. But God bless him in the cone of confusion. I've been there a lot myself, but not necessarily flying. Anyway, good to see everybody. Take care.